Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live again. Welcome to the Red Bearded Red Sports Channel. I'm happy to be here with you guys. It has been a long day for me. Woke up at 5:30 this morning to start watching matches. By the way, I'm just going to say it really quick. That match this morning, Wolves against Leicester, that was world-class match. That is why you love the game. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Manchester United, 7 in a row, 6 in a row in the Premier League. You cannot ask for more than that. Today, we're joined by my friend, Matthew McFadden. Matthew, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. It's been a busy day for me as well. It's been quite a long day, to be fair, but you know what? At least we won.
Yes.
7 in a row.
Yes.
Can't really complain.
I mean, and that's where you, genuinely, you're going to have matches like today. You're going to have matches where it's going to be tough. You're not going to have an easy going. But it's about how you come out of those matches that shows your true character. Because, I mean, it's unfortunate that all we have to talk about right now is going back to what we saw under Mourinho. But literally, we saw this match earlier in the year against Brighton, and we crumbled under the pressure against Brighton. When times got tough, we crumbled. Under Ollie, we stood strong. Yeah, we let in a goal, but at the end of the day, we came out of this with a win, and a big win at that, because it puts us now only 3 points. 3 points off of top 4. Matthew, if I had told you before Mourinho was let go that we would be 3 points off of top 4 by this point, would you have believed me?
You know what? I don't know my way around Phoenix, but I would have taken you straight to a mental hospital.
I wouldn't have blamed you either. I wouldn't have blamed you.
Like, the absolute contrast that we've seen has just been unbelievable. And it's fully been because we've done so well. That's the thing. It's not been we've had to rely on other things. It's because we've done so well. We've got 7 in a row. And at the moment, does it look like any team's really going to convincingly beat us? Nope. No.
I'm just excited for our next test, which is going to be Arsenal in the FA Cup match. That's at this point, that's what I'm excited for, is we've got a big match coming up against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm looking at Arsenal. I mean, Matthew, I'm not scared of them. Not anymore.
I mean, they beat Chelsea today, but that's only because Chelsea were just downright shocking. I'm not sure if you saw the game, but that was an awful performance from Chelsea.
I did not, but I can tell you why. It's because they have a guy that's a form merchant and Eden Hazard on their team they think is some world-class player.
Yeah, and they're also playing him up front when he's naturally a winger. And you've got Kante, one of the best defensive midfielders in the world, being played in a position where he just looks like a bog-standard central midfielder.
Listen, and obviously I like to try and push some buttons here and there when I can, but I would take Anthony Martial all day long over Eden Hazard. I put it out on Twitter today. I don't care. I would take Tony over Eden Hazard any day of the week. Like, at least Tony offers something to a team, match in and match out. Like, Eden Hazard genuinely goes missing. Like, he genuinely goes missing for large portions of the season. So, that's just my opinion, though. By the way, love the comment from Jay Hart here. He said, Ollie could walk into a bar and bring home the hottest girls 7 nights in a row. It's very true. It's very true. He is a very handsome man still to this day.
I mean, he looked anywhere between 19 and 64.
Depending on...
To guess his age, any guess would be, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, if he was to dye his hair just a normal color, yeah, genuinely.
But you just can't not love the man.
Hey, Carl, come on. We're not about that negativity right now. You know that. Right now, it's all positivity. Phil Jones is going to have a worldie against PSG. He's going to have a worldie. We're not even going to have to worry about even defending.
He's going to pocket Mbappe.
Yeah.
You've heard it here first.
Yeah. Exactly. You heard it here first. Kylian Mbappe will be pocketed by Ashley Young. Confirmed. Not even a question. Solstice, good to see you.
I've just looked at PSG's recent form. They won 9-0 today.
Shh, no, that's irrelevant. That's ignorant, Matthew.
To be fair, the team who they beat were bottom of the league, like rock bottom. So it doesn't matter.
Well, and let's be real about it too. PSG are the only team in that league anymore. So now that we've seen Monaco sell off literally everybody in their team, there's nobody to compete with them.
I mean, there was 2 hat tricks in that game. PSG.
Jesus.
Mbappe got a hat trick. Cavani got a hat trick. Neymar got 2. Anyways, this isn't the PSG show.
Listen, this isn't a PSG show. We're gonna ignore all these.
1 month since Oli joined.
Yeah,
let's celebrate that instead.
Let's do that. Let's celebrate the fact Ollie's been here for a month, guys, and in 1 month we are 3 points off of top 4. It's all it took is 1 month. 1 month of positivity.
100% wins, and that's not even in just any period. That's a Christmas period, where it's notoriously hard to get a good run of games.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Matthew.
Screw the rulebook. I'm chucking that rulebook out the window. I'm going to do things the only way. And let's remember this, guys. We are not through the transfer window yet. We aren't. We could still wind up getting a signing. I'm not saying... Was that Matthew? Fellaini could still leave.
That's true. Fellaini could still leave. I honestly could see Marcus Rojo leaving too. With all the things about him going back home, like maybe they're just not going to offer him a new contract, so why not try and just let him go now for at least get something? PSG, so. But I mean, Carl, seriously, we're Manchester United, and I mean we heard from PSG that they are actually fearful of Manchester United now. You've heard it directly from them. Like, there's a reason to fear Manchester United now. We actually have attacking prowess. We are able to go at teams now. And I think you're going to see us go to PSG and play them. And I'm not saying we're going to win the home and home that we'll play. But I'm just saying we're going to have 2 competitive matches. I'm fully confident of that. But Matthew, let's go ahead and jump into some of these stats real quick. So today we possessed the ball 56% to their 44. We had 5 shots on target with 20 shots total, which that's crazy to hear. That only 5 shots wound up on target. It's not unbelievable though. I will say that.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the 5-1 I was predicting.
No,
it's a win.
It's still a win. It is still a win. We had 688 touches to their 578. We had 509 passes to their 387. 14 tackles to their 16, 19 clearances to their 18, and we had 6 corners to their 5. And we were only offsides once today, which is honestly one of my favorite stats that I'm seeing to this point, because I feel like we were whistled offsides a lot under the Mourinho era. I mean, I don't know if you noticed that as well, Matthew, but like I feel like we really haven't been getting whistled offsides recently.
Yeah, we're actually making good runs, and not just making good runs, but we've got people who are making passes.
Yeah,
at good times too.
And you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Matthew, given the banter, I like it. But guys, I mean, we're talking about a match where, yes, we didn't play our greatest. And we did see that Luke Shaw obviously did come out sick before the match started. And it was interesting seeing Delo down that left-hand side, Matthew. I mean, I know we've been told that he does go with both feet, but I mean, not that we're talking about ratings yet, but quick substitution, Delo went out on the left. How do you think he did today?
Yeah, apparently when he was in Porto, he played on the left quite a lot. I say quite a lot. He made like 7 appearances, but he played quite a few on the left. And he just looked... See, he looked better than Luke Shaw, but I wouldn't call it an amazing game. But he at least had some kind of impact. Like, he set up Marcus Rashford's goal. I mean, it's not really your typical assist where your pass gets all the credit, but he still gave it to Marcus Rashford in that opportunity.
Mm.
And he was fairly solid defensively. I think, if I'm not mistaken, though, the Brighton goal was a bit sloppy by him. I don't quite remember it too well, but that's what I've heard.
So you can make the argument that it was between Phil Jones and Delot to be able to make a decision. I mean, but Delot did get behind his man, and that's where he ultimately failed it, and he didn't attack the ball once it came in. But Phil Jones also likely should have headed it away. I don't know if people will agree with me on that, but I do think that he likely should have headed the ball away. And GT and SR, I was going to actually talk about Herrera here in just a second. I mean, Herrera has been constantly brilliant, and I actually would fully support him getting the captaincy, especially if he signs a new contract, because he literally does everything that a manager asks him to do, and it's awesome to see.
Like, Herrera's just a different player under Ole.
Yes.
Like, I know we kind of saw that in Mourinho's first season, but since that we've just kind of seen the occasional game from him. When he's actually been given the role, the first choice central midfielder, he's just done everything expected of him. I don't think he's had a bad game since Solskjaer came in. And to be fair, I kind of branded him as a bit of a closing down merchant. And to be fair, he still is at times, but he's doing his job well. And that's all we can ask for.
Yeah. And listen, end of the day, he's doing exactly what the manager wants of him. And that's to both kind of be a CDM. I mean, a box to box. He's a box to box for Ollie. And that's exactly what he's doing. It's allowing Pogba to get further forward, which is helping the team out massively. So I'm going to be interested to see if Ander Herrera will get a new contract in this offseason. And then, George, I did appreciate we got a lot of offsides because Lukaku has the movement of a dead mongoose. I mean, you're not fully wrong on that. He has improved a little bit under Ollie, but today was the first time he didn't get a goal coming in off of a substitution appearance. And then Solstice, we've talked about this before, a front four of Rashford, Martial, and Mbappe. That would just be next level insane. So, I mean, Matthew, I want to just talk about the overall performance today really quick. I mean, it was a weird one today. And the first half, we were absolutely phenomenal. But the second half, we came out and we just looked kind of dead. I mean, do you think that maybe we're seeing fitness levels truly come into play right now? Or is it just that maybe we let our foot off the gas a little bit?
I can't say it's a bit of both. I'd say I put more weight into the fact that we've played a lot of games recently. And to be fair, we haven't really changed the starting 11 because we've not needed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the first half, it looked dead certain that my 5-1 prediction was gonna be a thing. But yeah, in the second half, we just looked a little bit, I wouldn't say lazy, just it was kind of like shades of Josie. However, it's nothing really to be that concerned about.
No, it's not like we're seeing this consistently. And we saw, to me, what I saw in that Tottenham match is we did see a very much so old school Sir Alex against the top 4 teams kind of performance, that we hit them on the break, we got our goal, and we really locked the other team down, and we still were trying to hit them on the break when we could. And it was great to see. And today we didn't really see us hit out on the break as much after we were trying to just lock down the shop. I do think that we may need to start seeing a little bit of squad rotation, because I know that you did bring that into play, but I mean, I don't know where we will see it though, because right now I feel like this team, this 11 that Ollie has been running out there has been really meshing well. I mean, Matthew, do you see anywhere besides maybe substituting your Phil Jones, Eric Bailly, your Delot, you could sub him in there occasionally, maybe occasionally subbing Fred. Do you really see anywhere you'd want a massive change besides Phil Jones?
honestly, right, I know we can go on about the fact that Luke Shaw, to be fair, is a bit average. Ashley Young, as George Kyle calls him, the oxygen thief. To be fair, we have to kind of work with the squad that we've got right now. We can't just magic three new fullbacks and two centre-backs into a team.
You're right.
Apart from that back four, maybe the right winger. I still think Jesse Lingard is at times a bit of a squad player. Yeah, he does it in big matches occasionally, but still, if you want to win a team, if you want to win a title, then I don't think Jesse Lingard is a starting winger for you. But he can be used in different positions, and he'll come in, he'll be useful. But yeah, I wouldn't really make too many changes because I don't think it's a personnel problem that we've been a little bit shaky in the second half. I just think it's tiredness and sort of in their heads because they're still adapting to Ole's style of play. This isn't a case of this is how it's going to be for the whole season. It's going to be a case of we'll lose some games, we'll win some games, but it's all about adapting to what Ole wants for this team.
Yeah, and you're seeing exactly that right now. You're seeing us become an attacking team, a front-footed team. And like Jay Hart just said, I mean, it would make sense to be tired in the second half after all that attacking in the first. But with Mourinho, we were already tired after the first whistle, which that is very, very true. I look at what we have out there. I mean, like you mentioned, other than like the back four and maybe the right wing, I would still like it. I've heard Mark talk about this before, but it almost makes you wonder if maybe Alexis Sanchez has it in his contract to not play on the right wing. Because why have we not tried that at this point? Why have we not tried Alexis Sanchez on that right wing? Because I'm not saying that Jesse Lingard had a poor performance today by any means, but it was an average performance today. He did miss a pretty big chance. And it's something that I actually feel like Alexis Sanchez probably would have buried. And that just, to me, says a lot about our right wing at the current moment. We all know we need a couple of positions. We all know we need a right winger. We all know we need a center back. And we all know we likely need another backup fullback. And honestly, another CDM as well. But it just goes to show that right now, because we are on the front foot consistently, that a lot of those weaknesses are being hidden by our football, which is awesome to see. It is truly awesome. And I want to shout out the person that said it. I didn't see exactly who said it, but I think it was Jay Hart. But Neves, Kante, and Pogba as a midfield three. I mean, we all saw what Neves did today for Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, Matthew, you hear, like, obviously we're not here really to talk about transfers, but Ruben Neves, a yes or no? Because for me, I'd bring him in all day long.
100% yes. To be fair, he'll cost a lot, but as a long-term Matic replacement, I think he's just perfect. Yeah. Because he's more than just a defensive midfielder. He's a set-piece threat. He scores absolute worldies for fun. And if we're wanting to start counter-attacks, he's the best man. Like you saw that with Jota's third goal. I think that was the last goal of the game.
The last goal of the game, yep.
His pass was inch perfect. And that's not even a case of it's just one pass. He does that week in, week out.
And we actually saw, like, imagine having him and Pogba that could both hit out a pass like that.
Yeah. And he must have some kind of leadership in it because he was Porto captain at 19. Like, you don't become a captain of such a big club like that at such a young age.
You're not wrong.
You've not got that kind of natural leadership about you.
I mean, you're definitely not wrong on that, Matthew. But let's go ahead. Let's start getting into these match ratings. I feel like today the ratings are going to pretty much be average all across the board. This is just my opinion, but there wasn't anybody that particularly stood out today other than like 2 players, maybe 3 players. And that's okay. You're going to have matches like that. But if you guys want to have your ratings read out, please get them into the chat, and I will make sure to read out your ratings for you as well. This is what the show is all about. We want you guys to get involved, and we want you guys to be able to have your opinions heard as well. So let's go ahead. Let's start with De Gea, Matthew. He really didn't have much to do today. What do you give De Gea?
A 6, really. He didn't have much to do. I don't really think there's anything we can really talk about him, to be honest.
No. I mean, the goal that was given up, ultimately, I'm not putting on him. Like, it's not his fault that the defender lost the man, and then the guy literally put it top bins. I mean, you couldn't, like, he couldn't have hit that any higher without it going over the bar. So I'll give De Gea a 6 as well. I feel like that's going to be a very appropriate rating. I mean, like you said, he was average. He was average today. And when you don't have a lot to do, you're going to be average. So Jay Hart said he's giving a 6 for De Gea. Saban is giving him a 6. Salt Solstice is giving him a 7. Pancaj is giving De Gea a 6. George Kyle said De Gea probably a 7 since it's Dave. Hey, you know what?
I mean, that's fair.
That's fair. We'll give him a 7.
Schmeichel would have get a 7.
Yes.
I don't think so.
No, Schmeichel would have gotten an 8 from George. You know that. He would have gotten 2.
Would get a 10 if he scores 7 on goals. Yeah, I'm still salty.
Listen, right now you're leading in the polls. So just saying. But we'll give De Gea a 7. I'm cool with giving De Gea a 7. And you would still get a. He said. So Jay Hart said he'll sit on the bench and he would still get a good score from you. That's exactly how we feel about Lee Grant on the show as well. Yes. He would still.
No, it's actually funny. Lee Grant's probably not our worst signing in the season.
Okay, that's fair, Salt. I'll just call you Salt. But yeah, we'll let's go ahead and let's move on, Matthew. Let's go to Ashley Young. Had a decent game today. Did put in some decent crosses. But I mean he still is somewhat of a defensive liability at the end of the day. Like, just you can see that there are just times where he doesn't look comfortable in defense. I mean, what do you give him today, Matthew?
Honestly, because it's Ashley Young, a 5 out of 10. He just doesn't really offer anything, apart from maybe a good set piece once in a while.
Yes.
But today's defensive play wasn't that good, and he just didn't have an impact at all.
I mean, you got a lot of people that are kind of echoing what you're saying. I mean, Matthew, I agree with you. It just there's you can tell that we need to start playing Delo on that right wing. We need to bring in that youth, and he actually does offer quite a bit defensively down the right-hand side. And I would be interested to see what it would look like to give Delo a run of games on that right-hand side. But for me today, I'm going to give Ashley Young a 5 as well. There was a couple of times where he didn't close down his man fast enough, and it allowed a good cross to get in the box late in the match. And just there was a couple of things that I noticed today more because of the last 20 minutes of the match. So today, Ashley Young get a 5 from me. Saban is going with a 5 as well. Vandy Candy, you're all good, man. Good to see you here. George Kyle did say a Young 0. Please tell me a decent cross he played, and I will upgrade him to a 1. All I can tell you is you can go back and watch, and he did put in a couple decent crosses. I'm not saying he put in decent crosses throughout the match, but I mean, we've talked about it. A 6 for us on this show is for a starter, your standard base rating. So if you drop below a 6, you did something wrong. So to me, a 5 I feel like is appropriate. He didn't offer as much going forward today as he has in the past few matches. That's just our opinion here, though. Salt said, "Old man Young is dead food." He's a 0 out of 10. Vandy Candy said Young is terrible, man. Leaves of his one game hype to be skinned by Brighton fullbacks. Yeah, that's true. Ben Kaz gave him a 4.5. Jay Hart said 5. George Kyle said, Salt, you're my new favorite watcher for the 0 out of 10. I like it. You got, I mean, George Kyle does call Ashley Young a wage thief. To be fair, you're not totally wrong because we have heard a couple of times where Ashley Young was maybe going to be transferred out and all of a sudden he would get injured, much like Fellaini manages to get injured whenever it looks like he's going to be transferred out. So you could maybe call him a wage thief, but he has at least helped out Ollie in the system that he's trying to run. So we'll go ahead. We'll move on to Victor Lindelof. Victor, to me, had one of the better games today, Matthew. What do you give Victor for today?
Yeah, he's just consistently the best player out of the back four, and he has been pretty much every single game that Ollie's been in charge.
Yes.
In terms of rating, maybe 7 out of 10. To be fair, right, I'll say as a disclaimer, I didn't get to see the whole game. I saw quite a lot of it, but not every single minute, let's just say.
Matthew, what are you talking about? You're in the UK. You could never watch a 3 p.m. kickoff, ever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But my means of watching it was very like, yeah, let's just say.
I know that all you people in the UK, you would never watch a 3 p.m. kickoff ever. We don't advocate for anybody to ever do anything illegal.
Advocate doing it, but if you want to do it, then go ahead.
I mean, that's listen, that's ignorant, Matthew. We never advocate for anything like that, and nor will we.
Just you can watch it.
Listen, I'm not bragging over here. I promise I'm not. But yeah, I do get to watch every single match as long as there's not anything crazy going on. So I'm going to give Victor Lindelof a 7 as well today. We didn't hold the clean sheet. So in my opinion, if we had held the clean sheet, he probably would have gone up to an 8. Because we have talked about that on this show before, that if you keep a clean sheet, you automatically get an additional point offered to your score. So to me, Victor was good today. He offered quite a bit. And you can see him really not only gaining confidence, but starting to really offer more to the team, match in and match out. He's starting to show his strength and his capability on the ball, as well as the fact that he's starting to get involved in set pieces too. There was a couple of times today where he got his head to the ball and he didn't miss by much. So if he can learn how to fully get onto those set pieces, man, he's going to be undroppable as a center back. So let's go ahead. Let's get to your guys' ratings. Saban said Lindelof is 7. Vandy Candy said Lindelof 8. He is developing into a center back we saw at the World Cup. Jay Hart said I'll give him an 8. One of the best today. George Kyle's still talking about Young. He said Roy Keane best summed up Young when he said if he was a United player. If he's a United player, I'm a Chinaman, which, listen, we all know Roy Keane. That's pretty quality stuff from Roy Keane. Pancas gave Lindelof.
I'm surprised the PC Brigade haven't gone at him for that.
I'm sure that they have, Matthew. I'm sure that they have.
You know what? He's Roy Keane. He doesn't care.
I was going to say, he's Roy Keane. Like, he'll literally fight you if you try and come at him for something like that. So, Pancas gave Lindelof an 8. Vandy Kane didn't say pinpoint passing from the back, which that is true. That he did almost have an assist today off of a long ball, which was fantastic from him. George Kyle said Lindelof a 7, superb ball for Martial. Get him a solid rating for me. And then he also said, Andrew, I saw it on the same channel you did. George, I literally have no clue what you're talking about, man. No clue.
No idea.
Wesker for Life said Lindelof 7.5, should have scored 2 headers from corners and a great assist. Let's see here. Do you guys in UK close your eyes when you see clips of the game on Twitter? I don't know. I don't know. Shout out to the link. Oh, Matthew, we don't talk about these things. Let's see here. And then Viking Vic gets from 8 from Salt. So, and that's going to be everybody. So we'll now move on to Phil Jones, who, in my opinion, was more at fault for the goal today than Delo was, especially considering the fact Delo was a late sub in that match. Matthew, what are you going to give Phil Jones for today?
Yeah, I think it's about time you start bringing Bay back into the team.
Please.
Yeah.
Like,
Phil, don't get me wrong, he didn't have an absolute stinker, but just showed that he's not at the level of being a Man United player. So really, when it comes to ratings, I'll probably give him the same rating as Ashley Young, 5 out of 10.
And honestly, I think that's fair. I think a 5 out of 10 is fair for today. Ultimately, Phil Jones, to me, you really do notice him when he does something wrong. You really, really do. And it's because, you can see that, he just misses on something. And for me, Phil Jones is the person that I think we can all identify as the current weakest link in the team. And it is time to finally get Eric Bailly back involved in the squad. And I would love to see Eric Bailly and Victor Lindelof paired together for a few matches. We obviously need Eric to be more sound-minded, not be rash in his challenges and get sent off with red cards. But at the same time, you need a guy that is going to be, to not being mean about it, but be a little crazy. And that's kind of what you need from one of your center backs. You need a guy that people are going to question whether they should go into a 50-50 with him. Because that's exactly what I guarantee you some people do with Eric Bailly now, because they know there's a possibility that if you go in the wrong way, you could be done for the year. So I'd love to see what you guys think about Phil Jones today.
That brings up a good point. A 5-year-old can jump higher than him. Every time he's on a corner, he just can't jump.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Which, by the way, I don't know if any of you guys saw the video. Apparently, Hector Bellerin did tear his ACL today. I don't know if any of you saw the video where you actually saw his ACL pop, but it was disgusting. And I wish him nothing but a speedy recovery because that looked horrific, absolutely horrific.
I'm going to watch this now. That sounds interesting.
Matthew, I'll retweet it, okay?
Oh, yeah, you can see it.
Oh, did you see it?
Yeah, that's quite bad.
Dude, it was disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. So Saban said Pink Boots gets a 5. That's fair. George Kyle said Jones a 2. Another crab we should sell with Young for a bag of footballs, which, I mean, if we get a bag of footballs, that sounds like a fair deal. Pankaj said Jones a 5. J Hart said a 4 for Jones. And like Matthew talked about, the 5-year-old can jump higher than him. Moada said Lindelof was at fault for the goal as well. So, Moana, I'd love to hear where you're talking about with that, because from what I saw, Victor was on the man ahead of Jones, and Jones was the guy behind the guy that, in front of the guy that wound up getting the ball. So I don't know if it's just me, or maybe I saw something wrong. But I know that Delo, you could possibly say, was at fault for the goal as well, because Delo was behind the man that wound up getting the ball and putting the goal into the top bin. Let's see here. Salt said De Gea is a better center back than Jones, which that's probably true. Let's see here. Vandy Candy said Jones gets a 3. He said Bailly's tackling plus Lynn's passing is a perfect combo, which that is very, very true. Let's see here. Anybody else? Anybody else? There's a couple people talking about the Hector Bellerin video that I was just talking about. It was pretty disgusting. Oh, okay. So Mo, I get what you're saying now. So I mean, I get where you're coming from with it, but at the same time, I mean, if a guy slips, I mean that can happen to literally anybody at any time. So I get where you're coming from at the very least, though, Mo. Mad Marcus, good to see you in here, my friend. And yes, Matthew will get to talk a lot here today. But Matthew, let's go ahead. Let's move on to Delo. Was a late substitute, and in my opinion, he actually had a pretty decent match today.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly say it was like a man of the match deserving performance, but obviously he made the assist to Rashford's goal.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's like a pinpoint through ball or just a simple layoff, it's still an assist.
Yep.
And I think he was probably better than what Luke Shaw's been recently, without being spectacular. If I'm going to be harsh, I'd give him a 6, but I feel maybe a 7 is probably warranted.
I'm going to give Delo a 7 for today. Like, for coming in late like that, that really does tell a lot about a guy's mentality, and that he was ready to go out there at any moment and still put on a great performance, even though maybe that wasn't necessarily the position he was even supposed to be in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him a 7 just for the fact that he stepped up in a big moment and he played well, got an assist, and to me that says, like I said, it says a lot about the player and about the mentality of the player. So I'll be interested to see what you guys think about Delo's performance today. So Van de Candy said Delo 9, the type of fullback we need. Pancake said Hector's mustache is awful, which that is very, very true. Saban said Delo for me a 7 for the assist. I need to still try. George Kyle said Delo a 6, was good in patches and had a nice little assist, which that is very true. J Hart said I give Delo a 6, would have been a 7 of because of the assist, but his tracking back was woeful. Which listen, you're not fully wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong by any means, but like for a guy that has been playing a right back for us to step up and become the left back for the day, I honestly, when I heard that substitution was happening, I thought for sure that Young was going to be going to the left and that Delo would be going to the right. I mean, Matthew, do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, even though both have played on both sides, Delo's never played at left back in the Premier League.
Yes.
I thought it would have been a little bit more familiar if he played on the right hand side, but to be fair, he did decent when playing as a left back, and he kind of gives us that extra option too. Yes, I agree with you. Pancake said Delo gets a 7. Salt said Delo equals Delit 9. Anybody else? I do not see anybody else, but I do see a couple people talking about Marcus's voice. Marcus just is an intimidating guy, so don't mess with him. Okay, you can tell it by his voice. Wonder of the world.
What's that?
His voice is the 8th wonder of the world.
I've heard that's true. I actually have heard that is true. But let's go ahead. Let's move on to the midfield. Nemanja Matic today, I think he was pretty much average. He did what he needed to do. But he ultimately, it's something that we talked about a lot under Mourinho. He really didn't offer much. But today, I feel like he offered exactly what he needed to. What do you give Matic for today?
Again, it was another just solid performance from him. Wasn't bad, wasn't great, unless I missed anything glaring. I'd say maybe a 6 out of 10.
I feel like a 6 is appropriate too, because I really do feel like that today, for the most part, everybody was average. Like that's kind of the best way to put it. I feel like almost everybody was average, and we really didn't see much from everybody today. Like we only saw a lot from like two. Like I said, I think with Herrera, Lindelof, and Rashford, that's who you saw the most from today. And potentially you could say that we saw a lot from Martial as well. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about Matic today. Like I said, Matic was just a very different player. And he has been a very different player under Ollie. Vandy Candy is giving Matic a 6. Nick Archer went with Matic 6, solid again. Jay Hart said Matic is 6, average, dependable now, which that is very true. He is dependable. George Kyle said Matic is 7. As I said before, some of him running after opposition players with no chance of catching them. Yeah, you're not wrong, George. You're not wrong on that. Matthew is from Scotland, Salt.
But I don't want to change the subject here, but check Trotty Devil's recent tweet.
Okay.
Oh, it's absolutely sensational.
Well, because we know, so Pancake is giving Matic a 7.5. Enjoy a sticky rib pot noodle with it while you're watching, Captain. That exactly, Matt and Marcus. Exactly, Marcus. Then Saban is giving Matic a 7. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about somebody that, again, I feel like had a very good performance today. Ander Herrera. Matthew, Ander Herrera, do you think maybe should be given the captainship?
Oh, yeah. 100%. He absolutely boxed the midfield today. And to be honest, I'd say he did better than Pogba. Which is, pretty mad considering the standards we hold Pogba to and the fact that he's delivering every single week. But Herrera I think Matic once or twice maybe had some slight shortcomings, but Herrera made up for that. He sort of linked the defensive midfield to the attacking bit, and he just did it so well.
George literally saw the tweet probably as I was seeing it. Matthew, that's maybe Drawdy's best tweet to date.
I still think that Paul one, the Agadoo song from like a year ago, back when I think we were only starting talking, and it was something else. That
was pretty good too. This just, if you guys want to see it, you're either following Drawdy already or you're not. If you're not following already, I just retweeted it. It was absolutely hilarious. But Matthew, I mean, for me, I agree with you. I'm actually cool with giving Herrera the captaincy. And on top of that, you really do see that Ander Herrera does exactly what the manager wants at all times. Like,
yep.
He's the guy that goes out there, does what the manager asks of him. And for Herrera, that's to be a box-to-box, break up the play, get the ball to the other guys, but then continue going forward and help out in the attack. Because Ander Herrera does put in the occasional really good cross. I feel like he does it about once a match where he puts in a great, great cross. So I love Ander Herrera so much. I talked about it 2 seasons ago when it wound up that he probably should have been our player of the season, not Antonio Valencia. And I thought he should have been given the captaincy in that offseason. That's just my opinion. But let's see what you guys have to say about Herrera today. Vandy Candy is giving Herrera a 7. He has been solid. Saban is giving Herrera an 8. Jay Hart said, I give Herrera a 7. The last 10 minutes was saved. He saved us from a draw. Nick Archer said Herrera 8. Looks great out there again, exactly. He does look great out there. Let's see here. George Kyle is giving Herrera an 8. Full of running, tenacity, and vigor. Integral engine and workhorse. Mad Marcus did say Herrera has been great the last few games. Vandy Candy said Herrera is decent for some goals and assists too, which that is very true. And then Pancaz gave Herrera an 8 as well. So I mean, Matthew, let's move on to Paul Pogba, who today I feel like kind of had a mixed bag. I think is the best way to put it. I feel like he had some really good moments, then he had some kind of, old Pogba moments. I think that's the best way to put it. So what are you going to give Pogba for today?
Yeah, that kind of sums it up. I thought some things he tried didn't work out, some things he tried did work out. He obviously kind of set up his own penalty in a way. Obviously, it doesn't count as an official assist, but technically speaking, he's got 5 goals, 6 assists now since Ole joined. But yeah, his penalty as well was well taken. Like, the finish was really good right into the side net, and no chance of the keeper saving that.
Nope.
But, well, I think we didn't do a ratings for Herrera. Personally, I'd give him an 8 out of 10. And I said that he was better than Pogba, so Pogba gets a 7 from me.
I'm going to give Pogba a 7 as well. Just Pogba today, I mean, he was doing things that I think under Mourinho you never would have seen him do. He was shooting from distance quite frequently today. I just feel like if he can, in a sense, I mean, I think the best way to put it is relearn how to shoot from distance again. We'll get the Paul Pogba that was at Juventus. And if we get that Paul Pogba, he's unstoppable.
We're starting to see it, actually.
I mean, a little bit, yeah.
Yep. But obviously, he needs to do it across the course of the whole season, not just a few games here and there.
Yes.
Which has always been the biggest issue with him.
Yes.
Like, his talent has been completely undeniable, but he's just woefully inconsistent. And we're starting to see him go on a good run of games that's longer than 3 games long.
And listen, I do agree with you. I just think that we need to continue to see it. And like, you're obviously, I mean, even the greatest of great players are going to occasionally not have a good match. But for the most part, he still contributed today. He contributed defensively. He put in some good passes, and he was trying things. He was trying different things, and he was trying to help out the team. And it was awesome to see. So, once again, I'm going to be really interested to see how people are going to rate Pogba today. Because Pogba is just – he's a divisive character for some. But I really feel like he's starting to win everybody that was kind of on the, we should sell him in the summer phase. I feel like he's winning a lot of those people back. I don't know about you, Matthew, but I'm starting to see that on the social medias.
Oh, yeah. Like, definitely. You think you still get the occasional people who will only pick out the faults in Pogba and sort of exaggerate that to the moon and back. But I think the general consensus is right now, regardless of what you thought he was under Jose, he just seems different under Ole. And, he is hoping that continues. One thing that's interesting, though, is when that game comes and he has a bad game, how are the rest of the squad going to react to that? Because we've always talked about the fact that, when we win, it's quite often because Pogba's done well. And when we lose, it's quite often because Pogba's done terrible. So it should be interesting to see if there's a kind of difference in that under Ole. But here's hoping he doesn't actually have a bad game for us to see that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I couldn't agree more. So Saban is giving Pogba a 7. Nick Archer said Pogba 8 always gives me a heart attack on penalty kicks, but today it was always going in, which I do agree with. The small step run up, I think you could hear a couple people groaning about it in the stadium, which did make me laugh, but he put it away without question. Vandy Candy said Pogba 8. He linked the mid to attack like only one he, Kevin De Bruyne, and Silva can. The Pancast said Pogba a 7. George Kyle said Pogba another 8. It was brilliant how he showed Young how to play on the right, winning the penalty, and was dispatched with aplomb. Also very creative and good end product. JR said Pogba 7. Vandy Katie said goal-scoring box-to-box midfielder in today's football is a rare commodity. Big clubs will be queuing if we want to sell them. And Vandy, you're absolutely right about that. And George, I think for the most part, you could say everybody here has pretty much always been, at least that's inside of this group right now, it's pretty much always been Pogba FC. I mean, I can't even tell you. I mean, I've got a tweet that you can go look at. It's my pinned tweet, where it's my most liked tweet ever. I got hate on a tweet for me just saying that it was like it made the 15-hour trip from Arizona worth it to get a picture with Paul Pogba. I got a picture with Paul Pogba, and people hated on me for saying that. I don't understand that, Matthew. I remember us talking about that too.
Yeah, like he's been such a weird one since he's joined. Like we've obviously seen flashes of brilliance, but the thing is, he's such a divider in terms of fan opinion. But I'm not going to lie, during the summer I was very much in the camp of just selling because I thought Mourinho was going to stay on for longer, and he's just not really shown it on a consistent basis. But like I said earlier on, let's just enjoy it right now.
Yep, 100%. And then Salt is saying Pogba 9 because it's Pog Boom. Hey, you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. By the way, we are actually getting dangerously close to 15 likes. Anytime we get 15 likes while we're live from now on, I will hit the dab. And if we hit 20 while I'm live, we will also get to see the other Pogba dance. And Matthew is losing signal right now. Yay. But let's see here. Then, so George Kyle said it was funny how you could hear Phelan screaming at the players from the technical area. Yeah, I'm right there with you. And he's back.
Sorry, Skype's just shut down all of a sudden.
Dude, it's okay. I mean,
2 days in a row, shocking.
We didn't even move on yet, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna move on to our attacking players. Let's start with Jesse Lingard today, who, again, we talked about it under Mourinho a lot, and I feel like now we're starting to talk about with Ollie. He makes a lot of good runs, and he definitely helps out in his tracking defensively. But I feel like other than that, he really doesn't offer a lot, which really does stink.
See, when you're against a team who, like to keep the ball in the midfield or pass it around the back, Jesse Lingard's your guy because he will press them to the moon and back. But apart from that, he's just very, very average. And in terms of attacking output, he just didn't really get involved that much. He probably should have scored from what was about 3 yards out or something.
Yes, it was right next to the goal.
Yeah. I don't know how close he was to the ball because I only saw it from one angle. But hearing about it, yeah, he probably should have scored that. To be honest, I give him a 5 if I'm being harsh.
I was just going to call him average today. I was going to give him a 6.
No, that's fair.
So I feel like today he did the job. He did the job he was asked to do. He pressed high. He won the ball back in the first half especially. But we talked about it already, Matthew. We need something different on that right wing. And it's nothing against Jesse Lingard. I love Jesse Lingard. And I feel like he's a great representative for the club. But to me, I feel like we need to get better on that right wing. It's just my opinion, though. George, George did say that Lingard's chance was actually quite hard, which it was. But at the same time, when you're that close, you have to just put it on net. It's just my opinion, though. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and let's get into your guys' ratings for Jesse Lingard today. So Saban gave Lingard a 6. Vandy Candy gave Lingard a 5. Sanchez needs to start ASAP. Salt did say that Scottish internet is fantastic. I just thought I'd let you know, Matthew.
It just is. It's so fantastic that Skype just shuts down all of a sudden.
I mean, it's the best. I have actually heard rumors.
I'll tell you what, see until you come here, you'll never know what true internet's like.
I mean, maybe. We'll see. We'll see, buddy. But Pancakes is giving Lingard a 5. He was poor today and missed a chance. Vandy Candy said, we will need Sanchez when CL knockouts kick in, which I actually agree with. Jay Hart said 6 for Lingard. I want to give him a 5, but he didn't make a mistake or did anything bad. He was just average, which I agree with you, Jay. Nick Archer said Ling's 6. Would like to see Sanchez on the right wing. Sanchez staying on the bench was weird for Mata, which I thought Mata was coming on to kind of be a false 9, or play kind of as a 10. And then Martial and Rashford were going to kind of play as like a a front two, essentially. That's at least what I thought when I saw that substitution happen. George Kyle did say Lingard 7, some good running still to create space for others. Salt said in his opinion that Lingard is bang average, but his running off the ball is so important that if we get a better right winger, we might not play as well, which you very well might be right. And then Salt did also give Jesse, we'll just call it a 6. We'll call it he said 5.5, 6. And I think that's going to be it. So let's go ahead and let's move on to Anthony Martial, who, just my opinion, I think he had a good game. He did run at people well, and he did offer a lot when he was tracking back. Obviously, it didn't produce a goal or an assist, but just because you don't produce a goal or assist in a match doesn't necessarily mean that you had a bad match, especially as an attacker. But Matthew, what are you going to give him today? Matthew muted himself.
I don't even want to get into it. you know what's even worse? The fact that I clicked the mute button right before talking.
Listen, you got to do you, boo-boo.
Who does that?
You got to do you, boo-boo. And guys, we are at 15 likes. I'll hit the dab after Matthew talks.
I'll just talk for about 3 hours then.
Okay, fair.
Now, with Martial, obviously didn't score, but it was a pretty good overall game, to be honest. I kind of felt it was sort of unlucky that he didn't score, because if he was to score, then he probably would have been in contention for man of the match. But I think I'm not necessarily criticising him recently, but I've sort of pointed out the fact that he's been quite quiet in terms of, how he attacks as of recent. However, we saw a little bit more directness with him, which is a lot more, exciting to see, and that's what we want from Martial.
Yes.
So I'd give him a 7 out of 10.
I'm going to give Martial a 7 out of 10 as well. I just think that ultimately we see Tony at his best when he is running at people and he's making the opposition fear what he can actually do. And we are starting to see that a lot now. We're starting to see the Tony that we saw under Van Gaal, which is great to see, that he's going at people without fear, and he knows that he's going to continue to be given a chance. And it's something that Ryan Giggs talked about, the fact that, Sir Alex knew that he was going to make mistakes, but he gave him the confidence to say, hey, go out there and keep making those mistakes, because at the end of the day, you're going to get your chance. You're going to get your chance. And by the way, hit those dabs, baby. Hit those dabs. But we'll go ahead. Let's go to your guys' ratings for Martial today. I'll hit one more. I'll hit another one. Bam, bam, bam. I hit 3.
Oh, I'm ashamed of you.
I hit 3.
You, Andrew.
I mean, Matthew, they're not quite as powerful as your dab was, but I mean,
I tell you what, I had the most violent dab in 2018.
You did.
It was 2019 actually, because it was after New Year.
But it was before New Year in America, so you can still count it.
Oh, well, you can go do one. don't care about American time zones.
But let's see here. So we've got Vandy Candy said Martial 5. We expect more from him, which I get that. Pancake said Martial 7. Nick Archer said Martial 7. Good game, being pretty much consistent nowadays, which I agree with. I feel like he has been very consistent. George Kyle said Martial is 7. Some good end product in creating space for others. Yes, very true. Jay Hart said Martial is 7. Every time he dribbles the ball forward, I automatically lean closer to the screen, which I do too. I think a lot of people do that, Jay Hart. Let's see here. I don't see anybody else. I do see Nick Archer said 16 out of 17 likes. Who is it that didn't like it?
17. We've got a perfect ratio.
I was going to say that's a pretty good ratio. In fairness, Mo, it's okay. You don't have to like it, man. I'm not going to fault you for it. Salt say, calm down, you addict. I hit the dab so hard I dislocated my shoulder. I mean, that's a pretty hard dab. That is a pretty hard dab, Salt. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to our very last player, and it's going to be my personal man of the match, Marcus Rashford. Matthew, what do you give him for today?
You know what? Marcus Rashford has turned from brain dead to an absolute sunboy supper in about a month. I don't know what it is with him. He's absolutely on fire, and it's so fun to see.
Yes.
Because the thing with Rashford is, it's not a case of him just getting in the box and finishing it. You never know what type of goal Rashford's going to score. It could be a tap-in, it could be a free kick, it could be a header, it could be an absolute screamer from 30 yards out.
Yep.
He scores all types of goals at the moment. And his goal, I mean, some people are calling it a goal of the season contender. That's pushing it a little bit, but the dribbling leading up to that and the finish was just sensational.
I mean, it's definitely not on the level of his assist that he gave to Pogba, the dribbling skills he had.
Else.
Yeah, that I would say I would rate that overall goal better for me. Just like I would rate the team goal that Martial scored, where you just got the triangle pass of just Martial to Pogba to Lingard to Martial and back of the net in. It was Salt. I was about to say, Salt, I hope you're not being serious with that. I feel like Rashford today was absolutely class, and that goal was something else. That goal really was something else. But let's see here. I want to see what you guys have to say about Martial, because I'm going to give Tony Martial today an 8. I'm giving him an 8, and I'm giving him my man of the match. I mean, Matthew, do you give him man of the match as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Rashford man of the match.
Okay. I just wanted to double check.
Very, very close second, though.
Who is your very close second?
Herrera.
It's going to be Herrera? I kind of figured it was going to be Herrera. Let's see here. So you guys, what did you give Rashford for today? Just want to make sure I get everybody. So Pancast gave Rashford a 9. Nick Arch said Rashford a 9. Love him. Saban said Rashford a 9. George Kyle, Rashford, 9. Man of the match for me. Superb goal. An exceptional all-round play. 100% agree. Vandy Candy said Rashford, 8.5. Excellent movement. Jay Hart said Rashford an 8 just for the goal. Ollie has done wonders for him. Marcus needs to dedicate a chapter to Ollie if he writes a book. Yes, absolutely true. Mo said petulant yellow, 8 for Rashford, which I don't fully disagree with. The yellow, I feel like that was more of a frustration tackle, if anything.
Did he get a yellow?
Yeah.
That shows how much of the game that I watched. I didn't even see that.
The yellow that he got, it was very much so just it looked like he was a frustrated player, slid in on the guy, and he made a hard tackle. But just only basically went for the man. I felt like he wasn't going for the ball.
So it's like when you've gone 2-0 down in FIFA and you're just pissed off. You think, nah, screw it, I'm slide tackling everyone.
Essentially, yeah. Sophie, good to see you. I really do hope that you can join us for that show I was talking about. We're kind of keeping it a surprise for people, but I do hope that you get the chance to join us. That would be a great show for you to join. Let's see here. Just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. So Mad Marcus did say Herrera was his man of the match. I'm personally giving man of the match to Rashford, but Herrera, like Matthew said, it was a very, very close second. But that goal that he scored was absolutely world class. Pinkaz did say Rashford was top class. He could be on Mbappe's level for me. He gets a 9. Let's see here. Anybody else? Don't see anybody else. So, Matthew, let's go ahead. Let's do the last thing that we like to do before we go off. Let's go ahead and let's give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer some ratings for today. So we always start with the lineup. Honestly, I'm giving the lineup an 8. I'm going to give the lineup a 9 because he's running out a consistent lineup, and it's basically what he's comfortable with. What do you give Ollie for the lineup today?
Yeah, I think an 8. 8 for me. The only change I maybe would have made was bring in Eric Bay instead of Ashley Young, instead of Phil Jones. But to be fair, why change a winning team?
Yeah, we're winning. So, we're winning for fun right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair. And Selby, I actually was I agree with you 100% there. I think lineup in 9, and then the substitutions, which is always the next thing we talk about. I give the substitutions a 3. I feel like none of the subs really had an impact today.
I just think it's time we get rid of Mata.
I hate saying that, man.
Not really playing a number 10. Oh well, we've got Pogba kind of as a number 10, but with the form that he's on and how good he is, it would be too much of a risk to drop him games. And I think Mata, especially today, just showed that he's losing a couple of yards of pace.
Yeah, I do think
and he's not getting any younger too.
I ultimately I hate saying it, but I do think that it's time to move on from Juan Mata. I love the guy. I'm always gonna love the guy. He's the magician, and ultimately, it's time to move on. If we're not going to be playing him as a 10, there's really no point in keeping him, because that's the only way that you can make up for his not having the same pace that he had in the peak of his prime. So, just my opinion, though. Let's see here. And so I wanted to say, Sophie did say we need width, and Mata doesn't offer that, which you're absolutely right, Sophie. Oh man, we're 1 like away right now, Matthew, for me having to do the Pogba dance across the screen.
Oh no, it's 20 likes. It's 20 likes.
It's 20. So
I feel like Bird Box right now, where I'm just covering my eyes.
Oh, we got to 20. So I'll do that at the end of the stream. But Matthew, last but not least, tactically, how do you rate Ole Gunnar Solskjaer today?
I'll tell you what, off topic, I was going to be smart there and retract my like. 2 likes have just gone up.
Yeah,
so that's gone down the drain. But tactically, we won the game. The first half was brilliant. First half I'd give maybe an 8, 8.5 perhaps. Second half it was a bit lethargic. It's just such a weird one. I'd probably give him a 7, because it was a win. It was a good result, but it wasn't anything spectacular. But then again, if you don't win when you're not playing amazing across the whole 90 minutes, then you're not a winning team.
Mm. Yeah. And Sophie said she's going to take credit for that additional like. So there you go, Matthew. Sophie's the one that's making me do the additional Pogba dance. So for me today, I think overall for the tactics, I'm going to give him a 7. Ultimately, we don't know. I think that right now you're really starting to see the fact that it looks like we didn't ever work on fitness under Mourinho. And I think you're starting to see the fitness levels truly come into play for Manchester United. But ultimately, end of the day, he got the win. And that's all that matters, because you're not always going to win every match, You're not going to win every match 5-1, 4-1, 4-0. You're not going to do it. So we pulled out a hard-fought victory today, a hard-fought victory. So I did notice that basically, I think all you guys basically were giving Ollie basically a 7 or an 8 for today. And by the way, might as well say it now. I'm sure Matthew will echo me here. Congratulations, Paul Pogba, on the birth of your child. I know that I'm excited for the birth of mine. I actually went and did some baby stuff today. We picked out some more stuff, and I'm really excited for you, man. And I wish you nothing but happiness and blessings on the birth of your child.
Yeah, shout out to Pog Baby.
It is a Pog Baby.
In a few months. And
we did see a Pog Baby celebration today. So, Matthew, real quick, I have to do something. Gotta get up here. And is that right? Did I do it right? Did I do it right?
I've got my mouse over end call at the moment.
I'm about the whitest white boy you could ever see, guys. So you're welcome for that. Cue the music. Cue the music. Marcus said wrong. Do it again. That was definitely the highlight of my 2019 so far, getting to do the Pogba dance for you guys. Like I said, I'm about as white gets, guys. So I'm going to apologize for disgracing all of dancing in that moment. But I'm sure you guys at least respected it. So I appreciate all the likes for today. But if you guys, again, if you get to 20, I will always do that dance to end the stream. So Matthew, we're going to wrap it up there because I don't feel like I need to embarrass myself anymore. And we're actually losing viewers at the moment. So that just goes to show what kind of dance moves I have. So Matthew, thank you so much for joining us today. Shout out anything you want to shout out, brother.
I mean, do you wonder why you've lost viewers? You've lost 4 viewers since that dance.
Yep. Believe me, I get it. I get it. Trust me, I totally get it.
25% of people looked at that and thought, no, I'm not having this.
Viewers passing out. Yep, probably. Marcus said, "Do it again." My mom missed it. We'll do it again for the next video, maybe.
That was just shocking. I mean, I'd happily see a dab now.
Okay.
Don't.
I hit the dab for you to make up for it because I can't hit a fat dab.
I'm so glad I'm not looking at YouTube at the moment.
But I mean, Matthew, you make these things right here, and I know you're in the process of making some other things. So, you want to shout any of these things out?
Yeah, I've just spent the whole day making NFL posters, which is interesting because I have no knowledge of the sport. I've played Madden 2018 once, and that's the only connection that I have with it. And luckily, Andrew just gave me a big list of some of the star players, so I'm making a bunch of them. Super Bowl's coming up, so, why not? Why not take advantage of that? I might post them on Twitter quite soon. Depends when I finish them all. I mean, there's 32 teams in the NFL, something like that. So that's going to take a while. But, to be fair, I'll probably just post quite a few of them tonight because I've done about 15 or so, and they're actually looking pretty good. They
are looking really good, dude. I did see quite a few of them that Matthew sent to me, and they are looking awesome. But guys, definitely make sure. I'm always going to say this whenever I see Sophie live with me. Go subscribe to her channel too. She puts out absolutely quality content, and I love what she puts out, whatever she can, because I know that she also has a very busy life as well. So go sub to her channel. And guys, just genuinely thank you for joining us today. I apologize for embarrassing all of the human race with that dance. I hope for that, at the very least, maybe I could get a couple of shares, and maybe you just fast forward right to that point just to show how white I am. But I love you guys. I genuinely love you guys. You make these things so much fun to do. And guys, Manchester United, we're back. We're back to winning. 7-7. We're 7 on the bounce. We're going for 8 on the bounce. And it's looking like we're gonna get that 8th win. We're Manchester United, and we're back. And the rest of the league is officially terrified. The rest of the league is terrified.
If we win our first 10 games, I'm doing a discount and an only poster.
You know what?
I've just thought of that, and I've said it on YouTube now, so it has to be final.
Exactly. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it. God bless you guys. I love you guys, and I hope that you have a great night, a great day, wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. Keep doing you, because I love you, and you guys are awesome. Glory, glory, Manchester United, baby. Let's go.